Did you know your passion for animals could really move millions of pounds and save thousands of animals from torture and abuse? My guest did just that. Let me introduce to you Jo Dunsford and the incredible charity Animals Asia. Jo, we're so thrilled to have such a committed and inspiring fundraiser here at 9 to Alive. You really turned your passions for animals into a fundraising force of nature. And I can't wait for you to inspire our audience. So tell us, what's your job and what organisation do you work for?
So I'm the European and UK Director for Animals Asia. Animals Asia is an organisation committed to ending cruelty to animals in Asia. Predominantly we're there to work against bear bile farming. So bears can be either caught from the wild or bred in captivity to access the bile from their gallbladders. We're doing a lot of work predominantly in Vietnam and China to rescue the bears and then take them to our sanctuaries, one in Chengdu in China and another in Tam Dao in Vietnam, where they live out the rest of their days in sanctuary. And we're doing a lot of work with Vietnam at the moment to end bear bile farming, and we'll have ended it by 2022 thanks to an agreement between Animals Asia and the Vietnamese government. There are about 800 bears in Vietnam and we think there are about 10,000 bears in China. Finally, we also do a lot of work around the use of captive animals, so animals that are used in the tourism trade or are kept captive in zoos or safari parks.
So what do you do exactly within Animals Asia and what's so special about it?
My team, the fundraising and supporter engagement team, is about mobilising people from around the world that are passionate about what we're doing and bringing those people together with the projects so that as a team of people, supporters and charity, we can make a difference.
So Jo, how did you get started in fundraising?
So I've been in fundraising for 20 years, a long time, and I started out wanting my job to be something that made me happy rather than go to work to earn money to then spend time outside of work doing something that made me happy. I thought actually if I can just have a job that makes me happy, that's a better way to be successful. It's about how you define success. I ended up at the head office of Crisis, which gave me a really great overview of all the different jobs that you can do within charities. I saw that you can work in finance, you can work in projects, you can be an office manager, you can perhaps you can do HR and volunteer services, so on and so on. And then I discovered this thing called fundraising and all the different areas of fundraising, whether it be event fundraising, communities, or corporate fundraising. And I just thought, well, actually, I really loved the idea of corporate fundraising because you got to do the business side of things.
Tell us about your fundraising job. What does a typical day entail?
Well, I think, first of all, one of the great things about being a fundraiser is that no 2 days are really ever the same. You're always getting to do something different. Some HR management, I do sort of strategic development, I'm looking at what trends are happening across the sector, I'm managing staff, maybe I'm looking at the finances and doing the budgets and accounts, and of course dealing with all of our supporters as well.
What's the most inspiring part of your job?
We just rescued a bear last week, and when you see the stories coming through of the transformation of those animals, of that particular bear, that special soul that's been freed from a life of torture and pain, and you know that the work that you've been doing directly, is directly responsible for that. Sometimes it brings a tear to your eye. It's very rewarding.
Yeah. After such a long time, still brings some tears to your eyes.
Oh God, yeah.
So committed.
Oh, there's loads of tears. We cry a lot in our job. Happy tears, sad tears, tears of frustration, tears of joy. Because we're all passionate people. We genuinely care. That's why we're in this. That's why we're in this business. Yeah.
So talking about fundraising, would you say that this is a kind of work from home career that people could consider?
Well, I think it's a great question because we work from home. We have a brilliant structure at Animals Asia where we have a small office in Plymouth and everybody else works from home. We work globally with the team using Skype and Zoom, and I think it is just the most fantastic incredibly efficient model. It's the first organisation I've worked at that runs like that. And of course we're saving huge amounts of money. What's important is that you're able to access the donors, and supporters, that you're able to get out and meet people, that you're able to have those relationships. And so even though we are home working, we're still mobile and getting around quite a lot. And I think if people can do that, then there's no reason why they can't.
You literally move millions of pounds. Is it somehow intimidating?
If you've got enough drive and enough belief, you can make anything happen. When I was at WizKids, the first time around for the Charity of the Year, we had a target of 1.5 million to raise. We were the smallest charity that had ever been selected as the Tesco Charity of the Year at that point, and they were nervous. Tesco were nervous. How on earth we were going to raise this 1.5 million? And actually, you know, they say that necessity is the mother of all invention. We went on to raise 3.4 million,
wow,
which was the most money at the time that had ever been raised by any charitable partnership in the UK.
Wow. Another interesting question is, do you think fundraising is a future-proof career? You know, there's a lot of concern that artificial intelligence and technology in general are taking away some of our most common jobs. But what about fundraising?
The revolution I'd love to see at the end of my career is that people stop thinking about, I'm going to support this charity because this charity is going to solve the problem, and instead think, what are the problems I want to solve, and how do I find causes that align with my passion, and how do I become part of that movement? How do I mobilise myself to be part of the solution? Getting the charity out of the way and connecting the supporter with the cause, that's the future, and that will happen particularly through digital means. So do I think roles as they exist now will still be around in 20 years? I think they'll still be there, but I think that there'll be much more exciting opportunities that is all about mobilising passionate people to change the world.
Jo, what do you think is your gift, and how are you using it in fundraising?
I think you have to be a bit of a dreamer and an eternal optimist to come into the sector, because the scale of the challenges are huge, but that also means the scale of the opportunity is big. And I think probably one of my strengths is that I believe anything is possible, and I have an enormous amount of drive to deliver against a dream. So it doesn't really matter.
What is your top tip to start a career in fundraising?
Find a cause that you care about, but also find a job that you're interested in doing. You know, the day-to-day grind, if you like, of a charity is still similar to working in a business. So the things that you're doing every day, you need to enjoy. So make sure, for example, if you're not somebody that enjoys going out and socialising with people, don't go into face-to-face fundraising. You'll be better off working in the strategic side, or working in the kind of back end, or working perhaps in the database team. Think about the skills that you have as well as the causes that you love. I would certainly, if you can have an opportunity to volunteer in a charity, then actually that is a great way in, because building relationships with people will help get your foot in the door. And often, you know, I've seen many times people come into volunteer roles and then be recruited into a job.
Thank you so much, Jo, for sharing such a wealth of information and experiences. And I'm sure this will inspire many others to follow in your footsteps. And should you want to know more information about Animals Asia, check out the link below. And keep an eye, if they're recruiting right now, on www.charityjob.co.uk. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.